quiet to doubt stools and playing by house rules. I'm laid back like a couch dude. I'm that dude to make his own beats, writes his own rhymes, records his own shit. Probably why it takes so much time to put out an album. Man, I'm always behind schedule. Ain't that I ain't hungry, I just always got my plate full. Try to digest all the topics that I'm spitting. You need to sit back and actually take the time to listen. We living in a new age where mind states are feeble. Kids' attention spans are shorter than Danny DeVito. My beat stole, be banging, be about my business. Bass stays knocking like a Jehovah Witness. Leave them scattering when chattering. The gang of rhyme patterns. I ain't worth challenging. You all need some aspirin. Aspiring to be me, no empires to feed. Just a chosen few that's flowing through. Firing up the weed. Jeez, it's crazy what the world coming to. I'm here to live it, make music. For y'all is just hanging on a gimmick, huh? Wait a minute, man. Don't get me confused with none of these newbie-ass rappers, man. I know the game be feeling fucked up, but I've been making beats since 95, regardless if I had the right promotion or not. Word up. Hey, yo, I ain't always humble. I ain't always intense. I've had my good and bad days like anyone else, more or less. Probably a lot more than less, or the more of it in a sense. Feel blessed, so I just move forward through the stress. But don't smoke stress. Smoke the bombest weed you ever seen. Cannabis club category, certified Cali green. Type of bomb that I keep up in my sack. They give a lot of cats anxiety attacks. There's no denying the facts. But enough about the weed, though. I keep it on a need-to-know basis. It's time for me to cut to the chase quick. So download the free LP. Spread it to your friends and family. Even to the little haters mad at me. I got 2 official LPs coming after these. So far I'm grateful for the love that's coming back to me. Truly appreciate the support, especially my peeps that had my back when I was going in and out of court. But of course a shout out to all my people who kept the game alive instead of killing it, selling out with weak flows. My crew, anyone that gave an honest point of view. Much respect besides me, man. I do this shit for you, yeah, for you. Overpasses, some choose to overlook it. They should be looking past it. We hope for classics. We over you whack bastards. Soul suspects, man, we fall from the average. People try to act like they shit don't stink. They'll be up shit's creek, plus their ship's gonna sink. Now they knee deep in bullshit with nothing to think. On the brink of dealing with the most unpleasant of things. Time switch up, find ways to humble your strut. Just when you was thinking you was the next runner up. Shit out of luck, yo, it's just the way it goes. I ain't gotta stress the rest, all you already.
What's going on, folks? Welcome back to Wartime Optimism. It's Saturday, and it looks like we got some people here already. And I'm getting myself organized. How's everybody doing today? I hope well. I hope they're enjoying their Saturday thus far, or have enjoyed their Saturday if it's late where you're at. Thanks to a few too many virtual happy hours and real beers and cocktails last night. Tonight we have beer and water, because we're adults here. Right? Something like that. Alright, so for today, we are hopping into 3D from the sketch we looked at 2 days ago. I don't think I really have anything. Jafar, what's going on, my man? I'm doing well. A little bit hungover, but we're fighting through it. How are you doing, bud? Let me see here. What do I need to do to organize myself? I think we're good. We have some music playing, which hopefully you guys can hear. I'm still kind of just guessing on what those levels should be. But let's pull up the sketch that we did. Where did I hide that guy? Let's pull up the sketch so that we know what we're working towards, or trying to work towards. And I think I put that in my normal sketch. Nice. Oh, I'm glad to hear that you are working on Fabio's car sketch. I'm not sure when they're due. Maybe Fabio is in this chat or comes by this chat. But I will be on a live stream tomorrow with Mr. Fabio, an hour before this, doing some judging. It's going to be fun. I'm very much looking forward to seeing what everybody made. it's going to be awesome. I've already seen a bunch of cool stuff, and that was just looking through like my feed. It seems like a lot of people have been getting in on that competition, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, I'm sure that there'll be announcements on Facebook and the like for all that fun. Okay, so what did we draw last time? We did save these, didn't we? Hopefully, yeah, we did because I made that thumbnail. We'll just open them in probably here. I don't think I saved a JPEG of it, I think is the problem. So we're gonna do that now. And yeah, so today we'll be taking that kind of like farmhouse sketch with the road, and we'll be hopping into 3D and kind of just trying to block everything out. So getting everything sort of into 3D space in a way that makes sense and kind of represent the composition that we came up with. And going with that. So let's see here. You guys should be able to see my screen now. Yeah, so we did these doodles the last couple of days. And I'm going to save a JPEG of this. And this is the sketch that we are going to do. So let's make that into its own little JPEG so that we can keep it open and reference it. Okay. I think this is going to be fun. We might be doing some rail clone stuff with this. I haven't used rail clone in a while. Yeah, I don't know. This is gonna be fun, I think. Okay. So let's hop into 3D. Close this now. We don't need to save it. And so we have just a blank, empty, nothing scene. Absolutely nothing in this. I also opened up the Kit Bash Wild West kit. These are a little too Wild West kind of for what I had in mind originally. I'm thinking of it more as like a farmhouse than like a western scene. But what I think is that we can use one of these at very least as a placeholder while we get everything kind of figured out, and then maybe this one's the kind of closest. Let's grab this one, and we're going to use it as a placeholder. That might be a little big, but that's okay. Ooh, actually, let's do this one. We're going to use it as a placeholder for the time being, and then we might model a new one. We might just use it. We'll see how important the actual architecture is. And so let's just copy this into our other scene. What I definitely find with working on these types of things is, and I know I've said this before, but getting these to a point where they are, getting these to a point where you kind of have an idea of the whole scene as quickly as possible is a great idea. And then you can figure out where it's worth spending time on everything else. So we had a pretty wide camera. Where'd that guy go? I didn't look at the actual proportions of it, but that looks like maybe something like 2:1. Could be more. Let's start with 2:1. Oops. There we go. And I don't know why that's in there. There we go. Okay, so let's just put a camera in kind of anywhere. That's kind of, I think it's a relatively wide camera. I think we're probably, my guts, that's like a 24 or 25 millimeter lens. So let's make a camera and let's set that to something like 24 millimeters, and we can adjust it as we go along. And let's turn that guy. And we're gonna put it somewhere over here, and we're gonna lift him up because I think of him as on a hill. Turn off those grids. And where's our horizon in this image? Our horizon's a little bit below a little bit below halfway. So let's do something like that. Something like that could be cool. And I feel like this should be turned a little bit. That doesn't feel right. Feels too far away, which could be because we have too long of a lens, or it could be because the house is too small. That feels a little bit better. Way too high, obviously. You know what we might actually do for this? I don't usually do this, but let's go ahead and actually... I don't usually do this. I want to see if this actually makes things faster. Usually I kind of do it all by eye. But let's see what happens if we actually put this in the background. Well, see, there you go. Let's see if we can kind of match some perspective a little bit. This might make life easier. I don't know why I don't do this. I do like the idea of... not relying too much on matching these pixel for pixel, so to speak. But I think that it might speed us up, and we'll just I'm just gonna see what happens, basically. I didn't. I'm doing well, my friend. Thank you. If you're talking about where I got this house from, that's the Wild West Kit Bash collection, which I've only used once or twice. Yeah, Wild West. If you're talking about music, we're listening to Sinuous, and there's a link down below to his SoundCloud. He's the man. Based out of Southern Cal, he's also a 3D artist, and really, really enjoying working to his stuff. Okay, just convert to editable poly. Oops, not editable mesh. So let's see if we can get this kind of into place. And I'm kind of I'm obviously keeping my eye on what's going on the left side here to get things into the right spot, but also looking down on, obviously I have a general idea of where all these things are in real space relative to one another. So kind of doing both. I don't think we're going to make this perfectly straight, but we do kind of need to be able to fit. I mean, how wide is a country road? Probably not quite that wide. Maybe we make it like... I'm thinking that this is going to be a road, obviously. Way to go, Mike. But also like a dirt road, because I think it would be cool to do the edges of a dirt road. So I think we're going to go that direction. At least that's kind of in my head at the moment, until proven otherwise. I do see it as like turning at least a little bit. Not that much though. Oh, that's not right. Let's get some things into place here. I think maybe these need to come down a whole bunch. And this is where you got to kind of start making the decision, how much do we want to cheat? And my answer is usually as much as is believable. I don't like that. We know that this wants to end up somewhere up there. So this needs to come more, I think, this way.
optimistic, glass ain't half empty, it's half full. Hopefully by now you know me from the jazz.
If there is an art to doing what I'm doing, I don't have that skill. Do not like that. Do not like that at all.
Probably why it takes so much time to put out an album. Man, I'm always behind schedule. Ain't that I ain't hungry, I just always got my plate full. Try to digest all the topics.
That's looking a little bit better.
And actually take the time to listen. We living in a new age where mind states are feeble. Kids' attention spans are shorter than Danny DeVito. My beast stole, be banging, be a
That's starting to look just a smidge better.
like a Jehovah Witness, leave 'em scattering when shattering the gang of rhyme patterns. I ain't worth challenging. You all need some aspirin. Aspiring to be
We don't really need to worry about how this is completely unrealistic because it's off camera. It's not going to matter that much. It is important though that this comes all the way over here so that we can have this foreground pole sit in front of it. Otherwise it's not going to make any sense. Okay. So we kind of have a road in there, sort of, kind of. Let's put in some kind of, copy this. Let's put in some kind of hill here. Booyah. Let's flatten that off, move it up. And let's change the color of it so that we can actually see what we're looking at. There we go. Look at that. Tudor, what's going on, my friend? Good to see you, bud. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. So we're going to want something, I think, kind of in here. Something like that, maybe. And that might want to come up just a smidge. And these pieces. Oops. Don't do that guy. Let's give this a flat piece of land, or flat-ish piece of land to live underneath of. And let's figure out which piece of land is blocking our view over here so we can pull that down. Okay, that's working out pretty quickly. And then let's just continue that off to the other side. I am glad to hear that I'm looking fresh. I feel like I had way too many cocktails last night, and I'm guessing the reason I feel that way is because I did. But hey, if I look like if I don't look that way, I'm gonna count it as a win. I think that's okay for now. We're getting this roughed in. Let's move this up just a little bit so we can kind of see it the whole way. We'll deal with the edges. The edges will be important. Thank you, Tudor. Oh, I'm all about chiaroscuro. A little of that. Can we get a little? This light's like a little bit too soft and close to get and not directional enough to get clean, like Rembrandt lighting. But if I could, I would. Maybe one of these days, I think you guys are going to come in and this is just going to be all black and white because, let's face it, I love black and white. It's shocking to me that, Logitech webcams are the most popular webcams, and the color out of them is just terrible. It's absolutely miserable. It is so bad. You would think that would be the one thing they try to figure out, but apparently not. Okay, so we kind of already have. So let's get our streetlights in here. I feel like I saw. I wonder if it's a preset. Doesn't Railclone have a preset? I feel like for streets power lines? I feel like they do. Let's find out. What am I looking for? I2. Rail clone. Yeah. We'll update some other time. Is there open editor there? Copy style. Presets? Oh, let's see what kind of presets are currently in here. Cladding, fences, guttering, railing. Not building types. Civil engineering? Could be civil engineering. No. Not gonna be pavement. Railway. Railway post is kind of cool. We should do a railway image one of these times. I don't want street lights. I want power lines. Power control, shelving, storage, ducting, truss. No. Landscape architecture. That's not gonna have it. Huh. Maybe they just have a tutorial on it? Maybe I need to model one? Maybe they hit it somewhere funny? No, it doesn't look like it. I'm not seeing it. I really thought there would be one. Oh, I2. Let's see here. Let's do a quick Google and see if they have one that's already ready for us. I2 rail clone. What are these? Power lines? These are power lines. Oh, they do. I mean, we're probably gonna have to do some tweaking. That's definitely what I had in my head. Let's see what kind of files they're giving us here. Because if they have this already set up, that would be fantastic. Rail clone's really powerful. I don't use it a ton. Obviously, I use Forest Pro a hell of a lot more. They do some awesome stuff, and I feel like it'd be worth at some point really digging in. Nice and low poly. They have the scene itself. They do not have the scene itself, so we are gonna have to make it. That's okay. Let's go ahead and pull this all into a blank scene so we see what we're looking at. What's going on? Tassos, what's going on? Appreciate you coming by and checking things out here on your Saturday. We are stealing stuff. I mean, they're sharing it, but we're stealing some power lines from I2 right now. What am I looking to do? I want to merge all that in. Let's see, let's get that. What are the arrows? Let's just do all of them. What on earth is... I don't know what those are for. I think we can delete those. I don't see why we would need those. Let's see, power line, start. End. Let's do end. I don't know if they're talking about the beginning or end. That's an older version. Is that a rail clone object? Oh, fantastic. Look at this. And I'm sure we're going to want to tweak this, but at least for roughing things out, this is fantastic. Let's convert this whole scene to, let's relink it, and let's convert it to FStorm. Before we merge it in, to try and keep that scene somewhat cleanly. Oh, there's nothing referenced there. I don't know why I did that. Anyways, let's convert it. And let's copy that guy. What am I looking for? I'm looking for this. And as long as... Let's paste. Delete you, we don't need you. Alright. So we're gonna have to do some tweaking, I expect. But first, let's see. Let's get a line that kind of starts to represent what we're looking for. And I'm actually think I'm just gonna draw this guy freehand. So I think this line's kind of doing this. Doot, 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 somewhere like here. And we're gonna have to move some points because that's probably more like here. And then that's gonna come back over somewhere over here. And we'll make one more so that it doesn't terminate in a weird way. And I haven't projected anything to a plane in a while, so I'm not even gonna try to do that again. What I'm gonna do is just eyeball it. Let's extrude it. Go back to the line. Doo-doo.
Life's a trip, it's also a bitch. It is what it is. We all done married the trip, but we gotta make the best out
Something
there.
like that.
And the skies will hit your eyes, giving you a brand new mix. Even had you singing the blues for a minute. It's how it is when life hits hard. Thoughts start to act like kids.
Oh,
On
pull
the
you
stretch,
down.
they know what it is, or the ifs, or the fact that they act like they know what they shit.
I wonder if we're gonna end up having to actually there's a chance that we'll have to actually end up placing these specifically. I like the way that where these like kind of specific poles are in this composition, and Railclone might not give that to us. But only one way to find out, and if we can do it quickly, then more power to us. If we can't, well, those are might bit close for my liking. It might be realistic, but they feel even a little close in here. So let's see. And those are kind of sloppy. Okay, so let's see if we can't see what we remember about Railclone. Anybody in the chat right now a big Railclone user? Because I might need some answers. Where's the stepping? What I think I'll probably do, evenly distance might do it. Let's see what happens if we change that to like 50. And we change this to 25. I don't know if this is what's going to do it, but it doesn't seem to be. Thought that it would. Cables, are they actually on here? If we can get something that is like kind of sort of close to what I'm looking for. Mode, retain value mode, local. Let's just kind of press some stuff. Let's see. If we can get this, I think you need to add some points to this line where you want the pole to sit. I think you're right too, but first we need to get rid of where it's dividing things. Ooh, what about this guy? What happens if we change this? That ain't doing shit. Move distance points count. Oh, okay, so now we're just getting one at each point and one at the end, so that might do the trick. That might do it for us. Well, I'm glad to see that we got some Railclone pros in here. I wish I was better at it than I am. But I think what we can do... I feel like me sitting here and getting that perfect is not going to be particularly fun for you guys. That's my gut. We're going to have to adjust it so that there's not one of these in the middle. So let's try to get rid of the middle one. Start, pull, start, mirror. So this is probably beginning and end. Let's see if we pull that guy out. Now we should just have it at the corner spots. That is what we got going. So now we can try and put these into the spot where we want them. What I will probably end up doing is trying to get this rail clone object somewhat figured out before subjecting you guys to watching it all day long. I like the idea that these have these like really long spans. Where's this guy going? This guy's going somewhere over here. Something like there. Not going to worry about it being stuck in the ground because you can barely see anything down here. And then these guys I want to come way out and down. So let's have these come down a little bit so that they're not taking up so much space on the horizon. Something like that. And I think it's this one. That guy's got to come way out. So we're just going to go ahead and keep on moving these. Tutor, my friend. One day the dream will come alive. So let's do something like this, and then we can add in some segments here, which I believe will give us another pole. And it does. Fantastic. And this probably needs one too. Something like that. But we're going to move him over. Oops. We're going to move him over here. Okay, that's a little bit sloppy, but we might not even see it. And then we need that foreground pole. Let's see here. Where do we get in camera? Here we get into camera. And we are getting those. We're not getting them quite as we want them. Let's just pull this one down a bit. And we're going to pull down this one as well. Something like that. And now, let's take these guys. Edible poly. Are you guys serious? What kind of nonsense is this modeling? What's going to be the easiest way to select all the things that I want to select? Do this, this, this. That should be all of them. And then we're going to invert that selection. And we're going to take off the end caps. We're going to get rid of this. Oh, come on now. What's going on here? Why won't you let me delete you? That's weird. Oh, Max, you piece of shit. Let's save before I break anything, and then let's break something. Why on earth? I do not understand why it's making me do them individually when I had them all selected, but hey, some things aren't worth figuring out. We might just remodel these all together, but what I do definitely want to get right now is a whole lot more kind of dip in them. Let's do something like that, and then let's make sure that we don't have a cap on the end. We do. We're going to delete those, and then we're going to put turbo smooth on this guy. That's a lot of geometry, but that's okay. Who gives a shit? Did it break our thing? Yeah, a little bit. Little bit. That's okay. But is it giving us the effect that we want is the question. We just have to figure out the start points got all screwy. You know something? We might just be able to fake it. Let's see which side we need to raise. No, that's not going to work. Maybe what we need to do is go back into our rail clone. And I'm wondering if it's linear, rules, mode, scale. Where's the deformity option? Spline, cables, form, adaptive. Nope. Stepped. Nope. That made it worse. Slice band nest aligned with Y surface. Oh, for fuck's sake. This is what happens when you try to do everything quickly and roughly. What's going to be our fastest way to get this so that we can hit render in a couple of minutes? Tassos, that's kind of exactly what I'm thinking, to be 100% honest. Because right now it's a fucking mess. But what we can do is we can take this guy off and let's grab the rail clone, let's duplicate it so that we have it. Copy rail clone, and we'll say alive, and we'll hide that. Hide selection. And let's go ahead and take this guy and turn off the turbo smooth, and then we'll take this and convert to editable poly. And then hopefully we can grab all of these by that ID. Oh, what the? Nope. Grab them by hand. And detach them. Say okay. And oops, nope, sorry, don't want that guy, I want these guys. And then we're just gonna go ahead and put a turbo smooth on this. And we're gonna go in and just move some of these real quick. Getting this cleaned up, I might just do that not live because, let's be honest, it's going to be a pain in the ass and it's not going to be fun. But let's just get all of these ends kind of sort of into the right place, which will be good enough for us to start to take a look at this and see if we like where it's going in 3D. And now we probably need to let's grab these kind of bottom lines and get these all kind of sort of somewhere that looks believable. Right now they're way overdone. I feel like that's kind of okay. It's not perfect, but that's alright. Let's see which one's that. So let's grab, I feel like something like that's a bit better. We don't need to worry about these poles not lining up because they're not in camera. Clark, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you here. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Kind of sort of getting somewhere. Probably close enough that we can probably hit render sometime soon. So let's think about, we're going to need a light up here. We don't really need to worry about the lamppost just yet. But let's go ahead and make a light so that we have it. We want to be a sphere light. And I'm kind of thinking that like right here by the door might be where we want it. Maybe there? Yeah, maybe there. We'll leave it there for now. And do we want to try... we are going to scatter, obviously, like grass and all of that kind of stuff. And more often than not, doing scattering grass with F-Storm, because I don't have like one that I can just grab right now, and if I use a preset, it's going to be a fucking shit show. So let's just maybe give this like a slightly lighter material, and the grass is going to be relatively dark, and we're not going to worry about textures or anything right now, because I just want to get an idea of what this looks like when this is actually rendered. Let's go ahead and drop an HDRI in here of some sort. We were gonna go for dusk again, so let's see what old Mr. Guthrie has hiding for us. I want like Some light right on the horizon. Anything? I definitely don't want any pinkish tones, but it does kind of have a bright spot, which might be nice. Maybe we just do like dust sun. Low sun, that's still 6.6 degrees above the horizon. That's more than I want. Let's try maybe 1928. I'm actually going to go with 720, and I'm going to see what happens because we're going to put a decent amount of fog in this. So let's see what happens here. Okay. Let's not worry about that. I think we can press render. Let's press render. Let's press save, and then let's press render. There you go. All right. Let's see what happens. Load me up. Okay, looks terrible, but that's okay. Kind of expected it to look terrible. There's always going to be a part in projects where things look bad, and I feel like getting to them as quickly as possible is the key. So right now, I think I talked about this last time. I'm going to talk about it again because I think it's important. Every project at one point or another looks like shit. And I find, at least for me, that if I can get to that point while things are just kind of starting, it's okay, because I know a million things I can do to make this, get this to start looking better. And so it doesn't really take any wind out of my sails. If I had spent 3 days on this, and then I pressed render for the first time where it finally started looking like shit, because we knew it was going to, that's a lot harder to deal with. It's a lot harder to deal with kind of emotionally, right? Because you put in all of this effort for something. So yeah, hit render early and get to that kind of, this looks like garbage as quickly as possible so that you can start working your way back up. That should make everything black, as it did. Okay, now let's turn absorption all the way down. Let's turn scattering up. Ooh. That's kind of funny. Okay, so what am I really trying to do here? This should do nothing. No. And let's see, let's turn this up a little bit. I do have an idea in my head, kind of the, I pulled up actually after we did this drawing, where were they? This one, this looks like, I think that's it. Every time I turn on my Cintiq, these things get moved everywhere. Love the Impressionist stuff from Monet. This painting by Frederick Remington is awesome, and it's a moonlit scene, and I really like the colors in it, so I might try and replicate something kind of towards those lines. But I do love like the fog in these. I don't like how saturated this image is. But those are the things that are kind of in my head right now. The settings, what I'm tweaking right now in this, the only thing I tweaked in the HDRI was where the sun is. Right now I'm fiddling with atmosphere settings, which V-Ray's atmosphere settings are way more customizable. So these really don't apply. These are pretty bare bones. But what I want to do, first, let's make sure that this, we don't have too much contrast in this. We're gonna go all the way down to 0. And we're gonna leave everything else there for now. Yes. And let's get some scattering going on. Oh, when I turned things to green, that was changing the atmosphere color. Okay, so let's get this scattering some stuff. there's our sun. Let's set it something like this. Maybe this is all in shadow and that's why we're not getting any real scattering. Could be. Do you have any absorption left? No, it's not absorbing. Oh, wait. No, yeah. Cut back to white. If we go to black, this should look normal. Wondering why this isn't really scattering anything at all. Are we below the ground plane, which is possible? Yeah, not that much. Let's get that guy back up. Make sure we're locked in that view. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see what this looks like. Something that actually makes some sense to us. That's 100 meters. We should be getting brightness out of this. I wonder why we're not. Here's an idea. Let's way overdo it. Let's make things super duper bright. Contrasty. Jamie, what's going on, man? I'm glad you're enjoying these. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's been a while. Let's kind of figure out. So this should be hitting this side here, and it's not. Oh, the fun of troubleshooting. Maybe it's just too low, so maybe that's okay. So I'm gonna go back and I'm just gonna work with this. And I'm not gonna worry about color at the moment. And when you say you're not gonna worry about color, if you're still looking at it, it's going to affect you, is what I have found. So I'm just gonna turn off saturation altogether, so that we're looking at black and white. And let's turn this guy up super bright. Oh, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make this guy. That's a little bit big, so let's go to what we want, like how many centimeters? Something like 10 centimeters. There we go. It's not the terriblest thing in the world. We do want to turn off all of that blooming glare. Can I do it in here? No, I can't. I gotta look at my camera. Let's just turn it off for now. So that we know we're not confusing glare and atmospheric fog. And I want to see now that we have like one super strong light in here. If we turn this down, I would expect to see more fog. Oh, there we go. Okay. Something cool's starting to happen. Let's what time is it? 1:52. Let's go ahead and change some stuff now. Okay. That's something to start working from, I think. And I do actually now wonder. Oops. Oopsie daisies. Okay, now we're starting to get somewhere. Let's see here. So a couple of things that we can like immediately see. Obviously, we have lots of stuff to do. But despite these posts kind of being in the right area, they definitely don't feel tall enough. And I think a big reason of that is that right now we have this kind of going all the way down. I'm gonna put that in there. Let's go ahead and lower that a bit. We know we're gonna have something kind of like that anyways. Alright. And at some point we're gonna have this road coming up. Though, you know something? We might do that with... We might do that just by painting scattering. That might be easier. That might be easier actually for all of this. That's an idea. I think we're going to do a little scattering and just kind of not deal with the fact that we're going to mess up all of our materials real quick. Since we haven't made that much progress anyways, I'm going to go ahead and delete this road. Road plan, hide that selection. We already have that geometry in this. Right, that guy kind of comes along here. What we might want to do with that, because we know that like a country road kind of tends to have these little shoulders on them. Dirt country road, or gravel country road. Let's see if we find one that kind of... You kind of start to see it, right? Like generally they're raised up a little bit and they kind of come down on the sides so that there's a place for like water and nonsense to go. So I think what we might want to do with this is inset it just a little bit and raise it just a little bit and then extrude it a little bit further. And minus the messiness that we created at the edges, which we can delete really quickly. Alright, let's save, and let's go ahead. We're coming up on an hour, but let's see if we can't quickly put in something to give this a little bit of texture and see how it reads. And we're just going to use the Forest Pro. Yes, that's fine. We're just going to use some of the Forest Pro presets. Yes, I'll update sometime. Stop reminding me. Okay, let's see here. So first we're going to do look in library, and we're going to get some kind of, I guess, meadow. What kind of grass am I thinking of? I feel like this guy might be nice. Say okay. Say okay. Say okay. Yeah, who else we got coming on? Oh, Jan, what's going on? Greetings to you as well. Jan, excuse me. Oh, Mark, good to see you as well, buddy. I hope things are going well with you and that you're working on another rad short of some sort. And now we're also going to go in and create another forest object. Yes, ba-ba-da-ba. This one we're actually going to give a name. We're going to call this road. And we're going to grab stones. Flowers, stones. Do we have something that covers a big area? Gravel. Let's go with gravel. Let's see if there's nice gravel for us. Not really. That's all a bit disappointing, but for now we'll just go with this guy. I think. How much variation? We're gonna go with that. Quick decisions. And we'll see if we can't get like a road in here painted really quickly. And then we can use that to exclude the grass. So we'll do areas, new paint area, and we'll say this guy, we're going to turn that off and say this one for include. So now if we go through and paint anything, it should show up. We need to be able to see this. All right. Well, all right. Now we got something. And this is the road. We're not going to do this cleanly right now because we just kind of want to see if we get something. Can you click? Nope, you can't. It'd be nice if they had like the Photoshop shift click number, but that's okay. So we're just going to do this. It's a little bit messy. It's very messy. Wow, that is jerky. And then we can kind of erase the sloppy bits, paint back in the places that we want. Where'd my mouse pad go? At some point I moved my mouse. Oh, here we go. You know, for this fine, high quality, high precision scattering that we're doing here. We don't want to have these kind of big things because that's going to very much affect our composition. Wow, that was really sloppy, huh, guys? Way to go, Mike. Let's try to paint in the lines. Clearly not a strong suit of mine. This is a place where I wish I had my Wacom collected right now. Okay, so that's too big, but we can also go in and we can paint some kind of road coming up this way. Boop, and now we have a road. We might move it, all that kind of stuff, but for now, let's see. Now we're gonna use this just to exclude, so we'll add a forest area as an excluding area. Should grab that. And we'll add a paint exclude area too, because that just seems to have done a shitty job. Oh, where's the camera? And let's kind of paint some of these out so we can see. Not the prettiest job I've ever done, but let's see. We need to grab all of those templates and convert them. Actually, we'll just convert the entire scene. No, if we convert the entire scene, then it's going to mess up our little environment that we set up. So let's see what options we have here in tools. Don't touch the environment. Don't touch the lights. Don't touch the cameras. Let's see what happens. It's not like we have that much work done to begin with. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh, David, rock on, man. Good to see you. Glad to see you finishing the work. I've enjoyed seeing your progress, particularly that you've been doing some paintovers. That is awesome. And the last one, without giving anything away, I glanced at the last one you sent right before starting this. And my one thought was not so much something to do with the paintover, but that when you get to post, you want to make sure there's a decent amount of contrast between the character and the background. So that he pops. Let's see what's happened here. I think our grass is too tall. I think we need to be a little bit more careful with our grass. Fancy that, I rushed. Let's go and just put like a low grass in. So last time we did this, did they have any messy layered lawns maybe? These aren't as messy as I would like. But they'll be good maybe for now. Let's just grab this guy. Say yes to everything. Yes. Okay. Okay. Let's find out. Okay, so now we can see a whole bunch more. And let's see what this gives us on our image here. Got to reload it for the update the forest, and we'll see what happens. David, I have not tried the display modifier for Forest Pack. I'm pretty lacking in confidence that it's going to work. Just because of it didn't used to work. And most like those type of F-Storm features still, last time I checked, haven't been implemented. But I will at some point. I don't know if it's an F-Storm that they need to do more development, or if it's an issue with I2 themselves, but something's got to give. I don't know what all this nonsense is coming from. It doesn't really matter. What we can do is grab this guy. We'll grab it by name. What did I call it though? Real Clone 001. I don't know what I called that. Apparently I didn't rename that. Oh well. Oh, I did Road, but I didn't do Forest Pack before. Forest Pack Road. And let's see if this gives me the actual material. No. This is the fun game of materials. We're not going to mess with it. What we're going to do is we're going to give it a white material. Now, I think I need to go find that actual object. I've still not come to a thorough understanding of how Forest Pack does and doesn't assign its objects. And it's never that much fun. If and I'm being entirely honest, I feel like it's a bit convoluted. But let's go ahead and hit this guy again. Let's hit this guy again. And let's do the last couple tweaks. Let's add a bit of vignette onto here, which will help us. Oops. No, don't give me any of that. Oh, dear Lord, F-Storm. Stop camera. Boop, boop. Put some vignette in there, and then let's turn down. We're going to turn down this fog just a wee bit. Maybe just a little bit more. And then I think we can turn down that light, which we have up at 10,000. Maybe we'll try 2,000. That's too low. Let's try 4,000. Love the guessing game. I'd say that we kind of have a start. I don't like how kind of big and heavy this is. I might just remodel these to the ones that I have in my mind, because the geometry that are in these is super duper simple. And I feel like they're important enough in this image that, 20 minutes of modeling might be worth it. I probably won't do that on camera unless you guys have a desire to see me model a light post or a street light. And obviously we'll have to actually spend a little time being careful with our actual scattering. Yeah, I think we want this to kind of pop. Excuse me. We're going to want the road to kind of pop so we can see what's going on with it. But I think we can do that. We'll continue adjusting the lighting so that there's a little bit more ambient light in the scene. And then we'll go in and we'll probably use like 4 or 5 forest objects all together that we'll do a bit more carefully than I did the last ones. But if we compare that to our sketch, hey, I don't think we're as wide as our sketches. I think our sketches maybe more like 235 to 1. We might go a little bit wider. But I'd say that, in the past hour we've gotten at least the bones of all of this in. And this is kind of like a good example of, remember at the beginning I was like, I don't know if this is the right house or not, and it's still not quite the right house. But assuming that the lighting doesn't change super drastically, we can probably just adjust a few things that are bothering me in this, and we'll be good to go. As opposed to actually modeling the house that I had in my mind that's going to be all in shadows anyways. So yeah, I think we're going to call that good for today, and we'll get back to this tomorrow. Yeah, that's the plan. I think tomorrow we're going to be doing the announcements for Fabio's contest. So pay attention to Fabio's Instagram or my stories or Droki's stories or whatever it might be. And I think that'll be an hour before this starts, and then after that I'll move over and do this. So I think that's going to be fun. I think it'll be fun to look at everybody's entries, and I'm sure that we'll be disagreeing on a few things, the judges. It'll be myself, and I believe Fabio, and one more that I think is Jason, but I'm not positive. So definitely check that out. But thank you guys for coming along and hanging out, and I hope you have a great rest of your Saturday, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow. I don't think I missed any comments that needed answers. So that's it for today. Guys, until tomorrow, take care of yourselves, be safe, stay positive, and see you soon. Thanks so much. Later, guys.